The film opens by showing our main character, Martha, who at that time is seen getting down from a pedicab and looks confused. Feeling that the address she is looking for is already correct, she then knocks on the gate of the house. A woman who looks friendly opens the gate. With a sweet smile, she greets Martha, then hugs the girl. This woman named Isabel invites Martha inside. Martha comes to that house to become a maid. She was sent by the agency that Isabel chose to take care of that beautiful house. Isabel treats Martha like a guest rather than a maid. When Martha looks at a photo, Isabel says, "That is a photo of herself and her husband, Bungo." Isabel then invites Martha to see the kitchen and her private bedroom with her husband. She also shows where the room that Martha will occupy while working there is. The room looks small yet neatly arranged. After that, Isabel asks Martha to rest and she will return to her room. Martha seems to like the environment there. She begins opening her bag and is about to tidy her belongings. Martha is seen carrying oversized clothes. The next day, Martha is invited to see the livestock pen of the house. There, Isabel teaches Martha how to take care of the animals. However, Martha, who is not yet used to the smell of the pen, is seen vomiting after returning from there. At night, Isabel still treats Martha like a guest. She serves Martha for dinner. However, when Martha is about to eat,
"Wag mo muna galawin ng pagkain. Kailangan natin."
Isabel gives a signal that surprises her. Isabel says they may not eat before her husband comes home and they will eat together. The surprised Martha tries to understand. Not long after they wait, Bungo has arrived. Isabel then immediately stands up and welcomes her husband. Not forgetting, she introduces Martha to her husband. After introductions, they begin having dinner. At that time, Bungo keeps staring at Martha, who is indeed admirable. There, Bungo also asks Martha to tell about herself. Martha only says, "I am someone who likes to work. I do not yet have dating experience because I focus on my work." Hearing that, Bungo and Isabel look pleased. Bungo is seen continuously paying attention to the young girl sitting beside him. There is a look of jealousy on Isabel's face seeing her husband. After that, Isabel looks through the biodata of prospective maids. Bungo is seen asking why his wife is still searching while Martha is already in their house. Isabel momentarily gives a cynical glance at her husband. Meanwhile, Martha behaves strangely in her room. She makes herself float. Her behavior is far from that of a virgin. Apparently, she is imagining herself together with her lover, Carlos. Martha is lying to her employers about her innocence and not having a boyfriend. The next morning, while at the pen, Isabel cries and screams as hard as she can. That is because her newborn livestock could not be saved. Martha tries to calm her, but she instead gets scolded by Isabel, who truly looks bereaved. Isabel says, Martha does not know how it feels to lose a child. Martha can only stay silent. In the afternoon, Isabel comes to Martha's room. She apologizes for her attitude that morning. She was that emotional because she can feel what miscarriage is like, especially up to 4 times. Now she is no longer able to get pregnant because of that incident. Crying, Isabel asks Martha to conceive her and Bungo's child through a natural process. She promises Martha a lot of money if Martha is willing. Doubt is visible on Martha's face. Apparently, Isabel was looking for a maid for this purpose. Before Martha even says she agrees, Isabel takes her to the prayer room. There, Isabel asks Martha to pray together and ask for blessings for her intention. Isabel appears possessed while reading a mantra, making Martha look dizzy and faint. In her faint, Martha is surrounded by large pigs. She appears happy together with those animals. Then she wakes up and she is already in her room. Isabel asks her to decide immediately while giving an advance payment to Martha for saying yes. Martha is happy with that money. At night, Martha is seen visiting a club. There, she meets a mysterious man to buy forbidden items secretly. Afterward, she looks like someone who is not entirely sane. She is truly lying by acting innocent toward Isabel. After that, she is seen entering a house. Perhaps that is her house. A woman is seen sitting beside her. However, Martha appears not to care about the woman who is her older sister. Back at Isabel's house, Martha is invited by Isabel to start the natural baby program. Martha agrees to the requirements proposed by Isabel, namely a large amount of money for giving birth to the child. However, at that time, she has a nightmare. She feels herself being disturbed by a creature resembling an animal. When she wakes up, it turns out she is already in the living room. Isabel immediately gives her a herbal drink to accelerate pregnancy. Isabel forces Martha to drink that potion. After that, she examines Martha's belly to see whether there is already any development or not. In her room, Martha receives a call from Carlos. She decides to meet her lover. There they relieve their longing. Martha violates her agreement by having relations with someone other than Bungo. At the house, Martha, who is enjoying the night, is startled by Bungo's arrival to her room. There, Bungo wants to check the development of Martha's belly himself. The next morning, Isabel, who is checking Martha's belly, becomes suspicious and believes Martha has had relations with someone else without Isabel's knowledge. She, who is already emotional, punishes Martha in the prayer room. She asks Martha to beg for forgiveness for what she has done behind Isabel's back. Martha looks to be in great pain from Isabel's punishment. Several weeks later, Martha is pregnant. Feeling it is already time, Martha announces her pregnancy to Isabel and Bungo. The two of them are very happy hearing the good news about Martha's pregnancy. Isabel is seen celebrating that pregnancy as if she herself is the one carrying the child. Relatives and friends of Isabel and Bungo are seen present. They look happy as well. However, what they are doing looks strange and deviant. Martha also does not look well at that time. Yet she is paraded toward the prayer room and the ritual begins. The weak Martha can only watch. The guests also behave strangely during that ritual. There Isabel is seen taking a large amount of Martha's breast milk. Then that breast milk is given to the guests who appear possessed. It is unclear what ritual they are performing at that time. Martha's belly grows larger. Isabel becomes more attentive toward her. However, at night, Isabel and Bungo watch the news on TV. There it is reported that a girl named Martha has been found dead inside a ditch. It is suspected that her younger sister Marty and her boyfriend have killed her. Meanwhile, Martha, who wakes up, searches for her phone that is not on the table. She panics looking for that phone. She asks Isabel. However, the woman says she has not seen that phone. Besides, who will you contact while your life here is calm, comfortable, and pleasant together with us? Isabel only asks Martha to focus on taking care of her baby. At that time, Martha hallucinates. She feels as if she is pregnant with the child of a monster in the form of a half-pig human, and her large belly opens wide, revealing many pig fetuses that look similar to the ones Isabel had brought before. She also feels that Isabel will finish her off after she gives birth to the child, and she will not be able to meet her child. She is very frightened. Luckily, it is only a dream. Martha decides to leave that house. She wants to have that child because she is the mother, not Isabel. She immediately takes all her belongings, then quickly leaves that house slowly. However, the house gate is locked. How can she escape? While her condition is heavily pregnant. In her panic, her older sister comes. There she calls Martha by the name Mari. Martha asks her older sister for help. However, her older sister can only say, "This is all karma from your actions, Mari. You and Carlos have taken my life and thrown me into the ditch." Apparently, Martha is Mari. She became Martha because she wanted to avoid responsibility for having killed her older sister Martha. She and Carlos, who at that time were staying at Martha's house, were apparently hiding from thugs who were looking for them because of large debts. There, Martha accepted Mari and Carlos to stay at her house because she was going to work as a maid at a farm, which was none other than the farm of Isabel and Bungo. The spirit of Martha asks her younger sister to repent and surrender herself, but Mari appears unwilling. The incident when Martha lost her life happened when Carlos asked Martha for money to pay the debt. Carlos also insulted Martha, who had never had a boyfriend in her entire life. That made Martha offended. Mari momentarily reprimanded Carlos for not insulting her older sister. However, Carlos continued insulting Martha. At that moment, they argued with a kitchen knife. Carlos took Martha's life. Then he wrapped the body and threw it into the ditch. Martha comes to Mari to make her younger sister aware of her bad attitude all this time. However, Mari is indeed like that. She even enjoys Carlos's touch in the middle of her confusion and sadness over Martha's death. At another time, she receives a call that the thug boss will look for Carlos and herself because they have not paid the debt. She, who panics, looks for a way and she decides to become Martha to become a maid at the farm. In a hurry, she takes any clothes to bring along. Meanwhile, Isabel and Bungo, who are seen watching the news about Martha, look panicked. Bungo even wants to call the police. However, Isabel reminds him that Martha is carrying their child. That is why they decide to enter Martha's room and take the phone when Martha is not in the room. After that, they also lock the gate so Martha cannot escape. Martha is continuously warned by her older sister to repent and beg for forgiveness for the mistakes Martha has made all this time. Afterward, that spirit is no longer visible. Martha is seen returning and heading to the prayer room. There, she who sees Isabel and Bungo immediately says she wants to leave and take that child. Of course, Isabel does not accept Martha's intention. She then stands up and tries to threaten Martha by saying she knows that Martha is Mari, who is now a wanted person by the police because of a murder case. Isabel forces Marty to kneel and pray. However, at that moment, Marty immediately attacks Isabel and finishes off Bungo with a sharp weapon. Then she also finishes off Isabel brutally. She has truly run out of sense. The spirit of her older sister comes again and asks Marty to do something good for the child she is carrying. At least Marty can offer something best for her child. Marty appears to understand the meaning of her older sister's spirit. In a weak condition, she walks out of that farm. Limping, she walks toward the middle of the city. Apparently, she goes to a maternity hospital. With extraordinary effort, she tries to give birth to her child normally. Her child is born safely and perfectly. Marty looks happy to be able to touch her tiny baby, the baby from the result of her love with Carlos, her boyfriend.